In the silence of night, they're plotting and they're planning, is what it seems like to me. Like it's not like they're announcing it, from the rooftops. This. Well, I guess we could call lockdown 2.0 that's brewing. I mean, this thing has hit the tarmac running. It's unreal how fast this information has taken off from, like, we'll just say 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, and it's everybody's covering it now. It's absolutely gaining traction, and there's so much taking place all over the place, all in different countries and whatnot. And I have a list to share with you, what countries and what's going on in those countries, and it's pretty extensive actually. In it's gone from 0 to 60 in just a matter of a couple of days, and we've only been in this thing, about a month ish, maybe a little more. And with what's been going on with Iran, and it just seems like oil refinery after oil refinery, and all these different pieces of infrastructure when it comes to energy are just being hit over and over and over again in the Middle East. Even there's been 3 or 4 fires at these refineries or whatever here in America. I think one was in Florida, one was in, I think it was Utah. It's insane the speed in which this thing is beginning to take place, and we've seen infrastructure attacks, throughout, the past quite a few years, about the past, we'll say, 5 to 6 years or whatever. We've seen them attacking, energy stations, where the transformers are and all that stuff, or the electrical grid, and just different means they're attacking. They've been attacking, and they're slowly but surely working at our infrastructure. And with that all being said, though, we know that there's a crisis looming. I mean, I can even go through and show everybody, how, even in give me a second here, I got to get to it. Um, Even how, there is an energy crisis Illuminati card. And it's funny, get a picture here because you see all the cars lined up, right? And I'm getting ready to show you an image here soon. But it says here in the flavor text at the bottom, a crippling energy shortage affects power blocks worldwide. All right. And so anybody that's in the know knows about the Illuminati card game, and how it seems that the art and all that stuff ends up happening, right? Now, with that being said, all right, I am going to show you a video that I think is extremely important to pay attention to. All right, let me make sure that this is big enough on StreamYard here. All right, there we go. All right, now listen to this video. Listen to this video and tell me, remember with the COVID lockdown, it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve, right? It was, 2 weeks to flatten the curve was the saying. Now listen to this.
This is a short-term disruption for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain be for long-term gain.
We're going to have some short-term pain with long-term gain.
Short-term pay for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain, yes, but we've got some long-term gain. Short-term spike for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain for American consumers. We may have to deal with that in the short term.
Short-term and temporary.
Temporary short-term pain.
It's going to suck in the short term.
Some short-term pain.
Short-term pain. We have to focus on the short-term.
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 Short-term. Short-term and long-term.
Short-term left.
Hopefully this is a short-term pain. Short-term is highly outweighed of the long-term benefits.
Some short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain.
This is a short-term disruption.
Isn't that insane? Isn't that insane? We're hearing, I mean, when they say it that many times, and all these news stations all over, are using the same slogans, you're being programmed. That's just the reality of it. You are being programmed. That's propaganda, number one. And I can't. There's also, moving forward. They're saying it has been hold on, let me just share this real quick here. Share screen. They're saying that it has been discovered that the burning plant in the United States, Valero Energy, is the main supplier of military-grade aviation fuel, JP8, and diesel to Israel from the United States. The supply chain is highly specialized because not all refineries are configured to produce JP8, which contains specific additives, corrosion inhibitors, and antifreeze agents necessary for military aircraft like the F-16 and the F-35. And the fire is still ongoing, and we'll show a video of that right here. I'm going to mute it, though, so I can continue to talk. But you're seeing the plant on fire. And this is in America. And this is one of, I think, 4 areas. I think there's one in Utah, one in Florida, and I can't remember where the other one's at. And then there's this one. And this is in America. Now it's happening in America. So I'm sure, and they're not going to tell us. We never hear about what started all these fires all over the place. You never hear about it later on, about, what started this chicken farm on fire and who was the culprit, and they just all were burning, and you just never heard anything more about it. And I'm sure that this is the way it's going to get in America, and they're running through fuel elsewhere like wildfire, I guess. And there's a lot of people hoarding and stockpiling already, and so there's that's going on right now. And this is a heavy hitter right here, what I'm about to. Oh, I'm freezing up. I just froze up. That was weird. Can you guys hear me okay? Just making sure in the comments. Yeah, and no Pats 2024. Absolutely. It's here. Okay, yeah, in Texas. Nathan 6 Jesus says that was in Texas. So okay, just making sure everybody can hear me, because I completely froze up there for a moment on my end. All right, now this one gets pretty wild. And this is going to be happening in America really, really soon. Like, and I'm talking, it could be days, if not, weeks, if not days, that we could see something like this here in America. Watch this. So that's in the Philippines right now. That's in the Philippines right now as we speak. We see people. There's not, I'll be honest with you, they probably don't have enough gas. But everybody's there because they get better gas mileage on those scooters and those mopeds and those motorcycles. They get way better gas mileage. They're preparing for what they know is coming. And in the Philippines, they just put huge restrictions on everything. And they're saying it's for a whole year, if not more, the restrictions that they put in place. And I'll just play this one more time. So that's here or in the Philippines, and I think it's not going to take too much long to be here in America. I'm not going to lie. I think we're in a tough spot right now. And so hold on one second. Let me do this. Actually, might as well just do this. So let me go through this here. The Philippines is the first country to declare a national energy emergency. Executive Order number 110, signed yesterday, March 24th, 2026, effective for up to 1 year. But what they don't tell people is they even put it in the wording that, or it could be for longer. Okay. Effective for up to 1 year. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. cited imminent danger of a critically low energy supply. Only 45 days, and they're saying 40 days at this point now. But so 40 days of fuel reserves left, 98% oil imported from Gulf, and the measures activated include 4-day work weeks for public officials and civil servants to cut fuel use and reduce government energy consumption by 20%, non-essential official travel restricted, public offices switch off computers during lunch breaks, air conditioning limited to no lower than 24 Celsius, which is 75 degrees in offices. The consumers urged to limit demand with promoted energy audits. So they're going to start analyzing the energy usage and all that stuff, right? And then you got the fuel subsidies for public utility vehicles drivers that lower fuel excise taxes. Formation of a committee for orderly supply distribution of fuel, food, and medicines and essentials. So the government's going to start distributing that stuff and going to be in control of it in the Philippines. Potential boost to coal power. I told you that the elite, like Warren Buffett and George Soros, invested in coal. And I knew right then and there, I'm like, man, it's coming. It's coming. And sure enough, it is. There's news stations that reported at petrol stations, transport strikes planned over price hikes as well. In Moldova, 60-day state of emergency in the energy sector has been declared and approved today, 2026. So just now, and this is what you got to understand. These are formal declarations of energy emergencies that I'm giving you right now. First is the Philippines. The second is Moldova. All right. And that was today. And it starts today. Government proposal to Parliament already presented, approved in some reports due to Russia's attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, causing a key Romania power link failure. Allows rapid resource mobilization and essential service protection. No further consumer level rationing details yet, but focused on supply stability. So they just did an energy emergency for 60 days. Then Pakistan has declared an energy emergency officially. 30% cut in fuel consumption. 4-day work weeks for federal public officials. Within 50% work from home for government employees. 2-week school closures starting March 16th. So that's been ongoing. With remote learning encouraged. There you go. There's your remote learning. Slashed fuel allocations to government departments. Local governments asked to save energy and reduced highway speed limits to 55 miles per hour and the prioritization of essential services. What does this sound like to you? No, that's not Cuba, that's not America. That is Philippines, Moldova, and Pakistan. And that was just in the past 2 days. You have 3 countries declaring an energy emergency. Now, okay, all right, here we go. This is where rubber really starts to meet the road here. Let me get a drink of water here because this is a long haul. All right. These are the countries that have taken started energy emergency measures, even without a formal national declaration. All right, give me a moment here. And I'm going to go through each one so that way everybody on my channel understands how bad this is. That this isn't just, a little bit in the news here and there. It's a little trickle here and there. Like, it's already starting to become a problem. So now there's Bangladesh, fuel rationing, private vehicles limited to 15 liters of petrol or diesel per week via a QR code that is required for a national fuel pass system that was implemented March 8th. So this has already been going on. Public transport allocated up to 200 liters. 5-hour rolling blackouts. There you go. 5-hour rolling blackouts for 5 hours a day. There's going to be a blackout, and then prioritizing garment export sector electricity. All universities, foreign curriculum schools, and coaching centers are closed and that have shifted to online learning. Right there. Right there. There's multiple countries already shifting to online learning. That's happening. They're doing it again. Okay, it says public and businesses are asked to avoid unnecessary lighting, and they're limiting AC to 25 degrees Celsius. And the army has been deployed in Bangladesh at the oil depots. The army has been deployed at Bangladesh. Now, I don't know how to say this. I'm going to say it the best I can. Bhutan, all right, has banned fuel sales in jerry cans. You can only fill up your vehicle. You can't take a jerry can. And they're putting things in place to keep people from hoarding gas. And they've established rationing priorities exclusively for emergency services. So they've established rationing of gas, and the priorities are exclusively only for emergency services. In Cambodia, 1 out of 3 of 6,000 gas stations have been closed due to shortages. Closed. And I'll tell you right now, I saw in America, and I can't remember, it was a city that started with an F. I don't have it on here, but there was a man that was showing how the majority of the gas stations in this little area of California have been shut down in California. But in Cambodia, 1 out of 3 of 6,000 gas stations, so about 2,000 gas stations, have closed due to shortages, exacerbated by neighbor export halts, increased oversight to prevent price gouging. So the government's getting involved in the oversight of the fuel. Of course they do. They want to get their hand in it. China has put an immediate ban on refined fuel exports to prevent domestic shortages. So anything that was coming out of China isn't anymore. It wasn't Fresno. It was somewhere else. It started with an F, though, Paul. So China is preventing any fuel exports, okay? India, the industry limited to 80% usual natural gas usage, emergency powers have been invoked to direct refiners to maximize LPG production, cut industrial LPG and gas sales to prioritize 333 million homes with LPG connections and barred piped gas households from obtaining refilling LPG cylinders, speed up piped residential natural gas rollout to replace LPG. So they already have stuff they're going to put in place to replace it. Many IT firms advise bring your own food to their cafeteria because there's cafeteria cuts due to LNG shortages. And I don't understand that last part, so I'm not going to say that last part. Indonesia, flexible working, whether you want to do it remotely or not, for civil servants, limiting public official travel, remote compatible teaching that has been moved online. So they're doing education online now, accelerating electrical stoves for cooking and electric 2 out of 3 wheelers, increase state fuel subsidy budget, and promise stable fuel prices through Eid al-Fitr. They have a limited 20-day of reserves. So it looks like Indonesia is not doing good. Japan is releasing oil stockpiles, 45 days worth tapped by the end of March from joint producer held reserves, and a vast strategic stockpile, only 254 days in total. And they put a price cap on gasoline, so there's no price gouging in Japan. Wouldn't that be nice here in America? Now, I'm going to tell you this, and this is going to sound kind of crazy. I'm hearing reports from people that I know that know people that own gas stations that there's actually not a shortage. They're just upping the price. I'm not saying that this is a fictitious thing, but I'm not saying it's not either. But it seems to me there's so many countries getting involved, and we're not even done yet, that there's so many countries involved that this is happening. Like, they're all getting in line with it. In Laos, remote work and rotating shifts are mandatory for civil servants, and the public are told to conserve fuel in a propaganda campaign they have going there. and they're encouraging public transport. Eventually, it'll come down to mandation. They're going to mandate it. I can almost guarantee it. Yeah. Yeah, Biden did give away our fuel reserves away to China. It is greed, Carl. Absolute greed. Well, that's great for you to use a bike. You know, there's some people that live further away from their job. All right, now, Malaysia have limited travel by public officials. So they're just limiting travel altogether. Maldives, temporary half-fill LPG cylinders for cooking. Myanmar is on the odd-even vehicle rotation, you know, with the last number on the license plate, whether it's an odd number or an even number, for vehicle rationing based on registration numbers for private vehicles. Severe shortages have forced widespread petrol pump closures. Advertising billboards' lights have been switched off, and there's mobility restrictions in place in Myanmar. In Nepal, restrict government vehicle use, rationing LPG for cooking, public urge to limit travel and adopt efficient practices. That's for Nepal. South Korea, nationwide energy saving campaign, shorter showers, bicycle for short trips, avoid charging phones. So get you a solar panel so that way you have your own little way to charge your phone, charge a battery bank, and then use the battery bank to charge your phone. EVs at night, or no, it says avoid charging phones and electrical vehicles at night, washing machines and vacuums only on weekends. This is South Korea here, and a price cap on domestic fuel, releasing 22.46 million barrels of their reserves, and they've coordinated with the Independent Energy Agency, or the International Energy Agency, sorry. So Sri Lanka, mandatory petrol rationing reintroduced, QR code national fuel pass, and a weekly private vehicle limit of only 15 liters of fuel. Their website crashed on launch March 15th for that national fuel pass. The website actually crashed. And then there was a 4-day work week that's been implemented, and the public offices have been closed Wednesdays with remote working encouraged. Schools and universities have been closed and shifted to remote learning. Transport public services have been curtailed. Additional fuel rationing measures have been announced. And that's in Sri Lanka. In Thailand, so you can see how bad this is. Like, this is a growing issue. All right. And here's the thing, this isn't God's wrath. These are the end times. Jesus told us that these would come. People always will try to counter this kind of information with, we're not appointed to God's wrath. Well, you're in it right now. This isn't God's wrath. God didn't say he's going to cause an energy crisis in the book of Revelation. He didn't say that at all. It's nowhere at all. You know what I'm saying? But we absolutely leave before the Great Tribulation starts. The Great Tribulation is God's wrath on this earth. This isn't God's wrath yet. We're not even there yet. All right? Like, it's a tense time right now. All right, so and Mercy, if you can keep an eye, if my moderators like Carol and Adam and Miss Mercy Morgan and you know, anybody else that's a moderator in my live chat right now, please pay attention for just salty comments and things like that, and just people, you know, don't be afraid to delete comments right now. Good evening, Joppy. It's good to see you, brother, and thank you for my moderators being here. I appreciate you, and all the other subscribers and viewers and stuff. I appreciate y'all being here. Anyway, so Thailand is encouraging remote work. Air conditioning has been limited to 26 to 27 degrees Celsius. Public officials are to avoid overseas travel and take stairs instead of elevators in Thailand. Office workers are urged to limit demand, to turn off devices, and take stairs. Carpooling has been promoted to reduce unnecessary travel. Temporary diesel price cap, freeze cooking fuel prices until May. They've halted exports to protect the 2 months of reserves that they have. Like, they're hoping this is going to go away. Here's the thing. Everything should be fine if this goes away in a couple of weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. But if it goes past a month or 2 months, the whole world is in danger, like tremendous danger. Like, I'm talking apocalyptic scenario. All right. Because everybody's already tapping into their fuel reserves. And I have a feeling this is not going to be some quick resolution. I'm saying we should be preparing for the long haul here a little bit. We believe in a pre-tribulation rapture on this channel. Prepare for the worst, though, but pray for the best. To have all your bases covered. Don't put all your eggs in one basket right now. We're still here right now. Jesus could come in a second or in a minute or in an hour or in a day, but then he can come in a week or a month or even a year or even 2 years. Nobody knows the day or the hour of the rapture. And so at this point in time, this is what we're facing right ahead of us. Jesus told us that these times would come. He says, when these things begin to happen, look up, your redemption draweth nigh. So we do have something to encourage each other with, but also let's be of earthly good still. Let's not be so heavenly minded that you can't see the writing on the wall. I think God's warning his people, and I think there's people that accept what's happening, and there's other people that just outright reject it, stick their heads in the sand, don't want to think about it. La, 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 la. It's not me. It's not me. This can't be happening. This can't be happening because I set a date for the pre-tribulation rapture. That kind of thinking is flawed thinking. To see the writing on the wall, to be aware, to be in prayer, especially, spending time with God and asking him what you should do next, the next moves that you should take. It would probably be of the utmost importance. It says here in Vietnam, urge remote work and public transportation. They've discouraged private vehicles from even being used, limiting public official travel as well. Local governments to help save energy, refineries, fuel distributors, ordered to maintain high supplies, cut fuel import tariffs until April 30th. Fuel Price Stabilization Fund suspended 24 domestic flights this week, 24 domestic flights per week starting next month. So, it's insane. So, like, even in, and the list keeps going. The list keeps going. I'm not even close to done yet. I'm being honest with you. Egypt, all right. Shops and malls and restaurants and cafes are to close at 9 p.m. starting March 28th for 1 month. All right. For 1 month. They're telling them when they can open, when they can close. And government buildings are closed by 6 p.m. Illuminated billboards and public lighting. I'm telling you, this is going to affect energy. Illuminated billboards and public lighting are reduced or switched off. Public is urged to save energy and limit public official travel, and considering a 1 to 2 day WFH mandate. I don't know what the WFH means, but they're considering that for a 1 to 2 day mandate. Ethiopia is the public is being urged to be frugal with fuel and diesel and gasoline subsidies. Kenya has put a ban on fuel exports, and they've implemented fuel rationing, and the reserves are expected to last only until April in Kenya. That is not good. Senegal, there's been a call to adapt energy consumption habits. South Africa, industry-wide controlled allocation measures for diesel to prevent panic and buying shortages. And in Europe, Slovenia, fuel purchase limits, quotas, fuel purchase limits and quotas. The second largest retailer imposed limits on cars, trucks to curb hoarding and stockpiling. And the pumps in Slovenia are running dry, they're saying. and that's from Reuters. Slovakia. So that was Slovenia that I just talked about. Now this is Slovakia. There've been official purchasing quotas to curb diesel hoarding. Moldova, I already covered Moldova. And then New Zealand has activated an alert for fuel reserves monitoring, considering the revival of the 1979 car-free day policy, one designated no drive day a week. So 1 day a week, nobody can drive in New Zealand. And they're saying hundreds of Air New Zealand flights have been canceled due to high fuel prices. Absolutely, Joppy. Yeah, I agree, Pat. It's like, man, but it's got to happen. This stuff has to happen. Unfortunately, and this takes us closer into the end times. We got through the first pandemic and the lockdown. We can get through this. You know what I mean? If the Lord tarries. But I think the Lord's going to be tarrying a whole lot less if people go out there and share the name of Jesus Christ and start winning souls. If you pay attention, the scripture says he's patient and long suffering for the fruit of the earth. That's the souls that are meant to be, saved, for the fruit of the earth, that none should perish. So he's waiting to see how many. The Bible's very clear with those scriptures like that. That he's waiting to see the people that are supposed to be saved come into his kingdom. And there's obviously like this last number thing, or the number hits a specific number, and then God's like, all right, it's time to go get your bride. It's gonna happen. All right. But yeah, Silent Walk, I agree. And remember, the harvest is many, but the laborers are few. That's what the Bible says. So not everybody's willing to share the name of Jesus Christ, but everybody's willing to get raptured, right? So think about that for a moment and just let that kind of simmer. Other countries that have put in price measures and price caps are Austria, Croatia, Greece, Hungary, Japan, Korea, Mexico, Mozambique, Serbia, and Thailand. And people that are putting tax cuts in place for this whole thing is Austria, again, Brazil, Ethiopia, Italy, Philippines, Portugal, Turkey, Vietnam, Barbados, the UK vulnerable heating oil support, retailer margin caps in Austria and Greece. And then other countries that are starting to talk about planning, or that are countries that are talking about or planning to start measures, okay? In the EU, which is 27 countries, they're already talking about implementing measures. They want to commission urgent coordinated winter prep, considering targeted temporary emergency measures for severe price crisis. Lowered gas storage, fill target to 80%, and ways to cut bills, implement, helping people, conserve the energy. They need this energy for their grid of their data centers. Why don't you shut down a data center or two and let the public have some energy, would you? How about that, government or governments of the world? Why don't you quit making so many damn data centers? Oh, wait, that's right. You got a B system to build, right? New Zealand, obviously, Southeast Asia, like the broader Southeast Asia, are planning to start measures. And even Denmark is urging private vehicle cuts. So, I mean, this thing is so widespread, it's unreal. It's so widespread, it's unreal. And so that, I mean, I'm kind of blown away, and even what I'm seeing right here. Give me a moment. I'm going to share this here. The TSA is saying it's on the verge of closing airports. They're saying because it's because of security shortages, and it could be. It could be, but I think it's something more. I think it's something more, but they're talking about closing airports in this country. They're going to restrict travel, and they're doing it a different way. They're doing it a different way. They're saying air travel chaos has reached an intense breaking point in recent weeks for more than 480 TSA officers quitting and calling out during the shutdown of the DHS. And I mean, why would you want them to work for free? It's a dangerous job. But they're talking about closing airports now. Like, that's crazy to me. And again, like I told you before, starting April 20th, next month, on April 20th, the enlistment age for people in the U.S. Army is gone from 34 to 42. And they're saying that marijuana possession no longer disqualifies you from the military. And I'm telling you, millions of new people just became eligible. And that's a massive expansion of who can join the U.S. military. And it's happening while tensions and military activity overseas are completely ramping up. And I'm telling you, like, this even, I can even guarantee that it raises the age that they can even draft people. So I mean, it's just one thing after the next, one thing after the next. And I thought that this video was rather interesting that someone put out there. And I'm gonna play it, and it's kind of a retake on what I was showing before. But listen to this right here. And the last parts are sped up, but you can kind of see between this situation and the COVID-19 pandemic, the similarities. Listen to this.
Turn pain with long-term gain.
Short-term pay for a long-term gain.
Short-term pain, yes, but we've got some long-term gain. Short-term spike for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain for American consumers. We may have to deal with that in the short term.
Short-term and temporary.
Temporary short-term pain.
It's going to suck in the short term.
Some short-term pain.
Short-term pain. We have to focus on the short-term.
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 Short-term and long-term.
Short-term left.
Hopefully this is a short-term pain. Short-term is highly outweighed of the long-term benefits.
Some short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain.
We're going to a different place, which is a new normal. This morning, almost 40 million Californians waking up to a new normal. Social distancing at schools and businesses. New normal that will hopefully allow America to reopen. We're looking forward to this next phase of reopening and establishing some kind of new normal. Embrace the new normals of social distancing and sheltering.
They sped it up to get through it, but it's talking about the new normal.
Place all the physical isolation.
Now masks are becoming the new normal. What do you think? Can schools operate under social distancing guidelines? And is that what they're going to potentially have to do as the new normal? When we get out of the sort of new normal and get to a new normal, just trying to cope with the new normal, this is the new
To not normal, but a new normal. Long lines for food becoming a new normal. The communities return to normal. Or the new normal.
So what is new normal like for the class of COVID-19? There will be a new normal. We just don't know what that new normal is yet. So return to normal as we knew it is not.
Turn pain.
So they're doing this short-term, pain for long-term gain is the new saying. That's exactly what they're saying now. The short-term gain or short-term pain for the long-term gain. Absolutely mind-blowing to me. And I'm trying to find this video here. I'm going to play this video, and I've shown this for a long time. I've shown this video quite a few times. I think it's a really important video. Even the credits at the end have predictive programming in it. But I want to kind of give you a glimpse of what I think is coming. Just even a slightest glimpse. If there is a normal that can come on, a new normal, right? If there's a new normal that comes out of this, Rich, I don't think that there is going to be. I think it's going to be way worse than what they're even projecting in this video. I just want to give you an understanding of what life is about to be like during these emergency lockdown measures.
New regulations increase funding for public awareness. All cars will be required to have advanced climate control systems.
How did we get here?
Good morning, California. We are experiencing another wave of brownouts as concerns grow over China's new coal power plant. Citizens are urged to do their part and remember our responsibility to Earth.
At first, I wanted to do what I could. Be a team player. Okay, you've got 2 minutes of hot water. Think you can be quick? Ready, set, go! They told us it wouldn't last long, and that we were in this together.
Dad?
Yeah?
Do you think we'll be able to fly out to Grandma's for Christmas this year?
Yeah, maybe. But probably just have to FaceTime her.
Okay.
There are still echoes of the world I remember, but they feel distant, like memories from another life.
Mr. Williams, in preparation for your meeting with the chairman this evening, I think it would be wise to set a good example. We wouldn't want to miss hitting our ESG score before your big evening now, would we? They say, in order to serve the greater good, we need to make more sacrifices.
Okay. Let me just say a few words, if I may. We need to say thank you to Chadwick for almost securing something.
Of course, David, I hear great things about you. I'm sure they're just words. They don't mean anything. I'm kidding, of course.
And Jessica, thank you. Pearl,
But when I look around, the we that does the sacrificing isn't them. It's us.
Dinner was nice. If we cut back on emissions, maybe we could do something like that for your birthday?
Thank you.
Yeah. Sure you're okay biking home?
Oh yeah, my score's gone way up since I stopped driving.
Updated federal mandates are going to be published later this month, and employers are scrambling to keep up. So later tonight, we'll discuss those new...
I live in a world that is constantly giving me feedback.
Especially your home AC usage, as fears of brownouts are still...
And I want to leave it better for him. But most days, I'm just left wondering, how did we get here?
Power allowance
you saw at the end of that video the blackout and the cows were no more and the gas station was no more, and obviously you couldn't even mow your lawn and the grass was growing tall because it's all the energy has to be conserved. I mean, it's strange, like when the COVID-19 pandemic hit and there was the lockdown, everything got really weird and strange. I mean, it's like America completely changed overnight. And I think that same kind of change is coming. I really do. I think that same kind of change is coming. And I think it's going to be something that is going to be a lot more difficult than what people are expecting it to be. I'd never underestimate your enemies. I think that's rule number one. And so, I mean, I've noticed this has become, all over the place, all over the internet. I mean, this is finally being talked about, and I'm actually kind of glad because I don't feel so alone in warning people about this thing that's coming. Everybody's starting to take it seriously, and it just, you know, I don't want people to be discouraged by the things that are happening around us. I want them to be encouraged, but I want people to be realistic as well. There's a lot of people that are going about their life acting like none of this is going on and that everything's going to continue. And the thing is that this has done damage that's going to take quite a while to fix. And we could see a year lockdown or even two-year lockdown from all the damage that's been done already. Yeah, we're all waiting for Jesus. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't believe America is Mystery Babylon, but that's okay for people to have their opinions. Anyways, so I appreciate y'all coming to the live today. And I wanted to do this live tonight because tomorrow I'm going to take the day off. I'm heavy duty in research with the new documentary that I'm working on, and I need to take a day to really focus on that. So I did a video earlier today that explained a little bit more about this. I showed this document and went through it with a fine-tooth comb for everybody to, and I read pretty much, the important portions of this about how they're going to go about this lockdown. All right. And so you can find that on the last video that I did today, but I'm making this secondary video just to kind of update people because this thing seems to be moving fast. If it's important enough, I'll still go live tomorrow, but I need to kind of focus on getting some investigative reporting done because I have to go back down to Grand Rapids probably this weekend and do more filming. So I appreciate you all, and I hope that you guys have a great night and be safe. May God bless you all. May he keep you, and please don't forget to go out and change this world in which you live.